Mike of the Tren Twins, that's Tren Twins, as in Trenbolone, tore his pec, bench pressing 500, or attempting to bench press 585 pounds. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Dave Palumbo here with another RX Muscle rant. If you haven't seen it, Mike of the Tren Twins, that's Tren Twins, as in Trenbolone, tore his pec, bench pressing 500, or attempting to bench press 585 pounds. And we've all gone through some major injuries. So first of all, I want to send a big get well soon out to Mike and stay positive. We've all gone through some major injuries. You can get through this, no big deal. You guys are tough SOBs. Having said that, the Tren Twins, for those of you who might not know, I'm sure a lot of you know who they are already. The twin brothers who remind me, and they harken back to the Barbarian brothers of yesteryear, of the 80s and 90s. David and Peter Paul, who were good friends of mine, actually. Peter is still a good friend of mine. David is no longer with us, but they did things their way, as they like to say. They wore work boots in the gym, jeans, and lumberjack shirts, overalls, and anything else you could imagine. They grew their hair real long. They did what they call barbarian training, and the Tren Twins remind me a lot of those two guys. They found a niche for themselves. They exploit that niche very well. They do things that are very extreme in the gym. They're theatrical. They have they have over 1 million followers. I always wondered what the Barbarian brothers would have if there was social media back in the day, because they were really, really savvy to, getting themselves out there. They were in movies. They were in several Hollywood movies. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Tren Twins down the road, if that's where they want to go, they might wind up in a movie as well. Because they have really great personalities. They both competed too, so you can't even say that they don't compete. They do compete, but they do some crazy stuff in the gym, and trying to bench press 585 pounds is, I would, put that up there as pretty crazy. But I remember the Barbarian brothers used to do reverse grip bench pressing with like 500 pounds for reps. They were great benchers too. 585 is a lot of weight. And, the interesting thing was, as I'm watching him do the set, he really was lowering the weight under control. He wasn't, it didn't look like he was handling weight that he couldn't handle, but, at a certain point, the body is not as strong as the brain is and the muscles are. And I think their brains are stronger than their bodies. And sometimes the connective tissue just gives out, tendons snap. And when you're pushing that kind of weight, it's very dangerous. I remember seeing Andy Hammond do behind the head with a dumbbell, 300 pounds, and he tore his tricep doing that. I've seen Craig Titus after the USA Championships go into the gym with 500 pounds, no warm up, and popped his pec. So Kevin Levrone tore his pec. You got to be very careful with that kind of weight, especially when you're that strong, because sometimes, the muscles are stronger than the tendons and connective tissue. And that's one of the negative effects of anabolic steroids, is that they make the muscles grow stronger, but they don't necessarily increase the tendon and ligament strength. So sometimes those are the weak link, and your muscles are just too strong for your body, and things can snap and give out. And, you learn the hard way, don't do that anymore. The truth is, I know that they want to test their limits, these guys, and both of them, do some pretty insane lifts. But at the end of the day, you want to preserve yourself as well. You want to be able to do this for a long time. So you can't be doing nutty stuff. There's only like one Larry Wheels out there who could do that kind of lifting and still be alive after it. But for most of us mortal men, we will incur injuries. Luckily, knock on wood for me, none of my injuries occurred while I was in the gym. I had some minor, like pulls and stuff like that, but I never had a major muscle tear in the gym. I did wear my shoulders down over years of overuse with them, and I did, wind up tearing a quad slipping on a staircase after I had retired already. But I never did anything in the gym because I was very cautious. I lifted heavy, but I was very cautious to use weights that I knew I could control and that I wasn't, maybe doing things that were a little out of control. What I do remember one time, and I've told the story before, is I was feeling a little tired one time, and we had a squat, a whole bunch of us. I was up in Metro Fit Gym in Pelham Manor in Westchester there, and there was a whole bunch of us squatting, and I just wasn't feeling it. I took a couple of Andriol, which were oral testosterone pills, and I took like 2 of them before we trained, and man, was I strong. I was like going out of my mind. And I almost tore my quad doing it. I felt the quad muscle separate. Luckily, I stopped the rep and preserved my leg because I could have torn my quad completely off the attachment. So you don't want to overhype yourself up. You don't want to take too many pre-workouts and caffeine and try to make yourself stronger than you really are, because that could be super, super dangerous. This is just a word of caution I'm giving you guys out there, because sometimes you go into the gym and you feel like Superman, and that's when you can really, really hurt yourself. So be cautious. Don't jump up huge amounts of weight from what you used in the past. And if you're feeling like you're not quite as strong as you need to be on a specific day that you're in the gym, even though you've geared up for a big workout, it's okay to not lift as heavy that one day, because that one day can change the whole course of your life if you tear a muscle or do some major damage to your body. So you got to push it in the gym, but you also have to be smart. 585, there's no reason a bodybuilder needs to lift that much weight on a bench press. You're not going to get any more muscle than if you're lifting, 5 plates on the bench press. 6 plates is like powerlifting material. Those guys wear bench shirts. They wear protective gear. He was on that bench. I mean, if he would have done that would have been a very impressive bench, for what he was doing, And unfortunately, he tore it. I hope it's not completely torn off the attachment. From the look of the way the muscle kind of rolled, it looks like it is a clean tear. Sometimes a clean tear is better than an intramuscular tear, though, because if they could just pin the tendon back in, he's going to be out of commission for 8 to 12 weeks, but ultimately he might come back and be fine. Sometimes when you get these intramuscular tears, it looks really, really retracted, and it doesn't look cosmetically fixable. It's never really the same. So Levroni's pec was pretty good after they fixed it. His was a tendon tear, so we'll have to wait and find out for Mike to tell us what happened. Once again, I send my best wishes out to you guys. Heal up quickly. Keep us updated on the recovery process. If you want, send me your address. I'll send you a couple bottles of Arthrolyze, the best joint repair product on the market. A lot of guys that I've known who've torn muscles have used it and really recovered quite rapidly and much faster, because you got to give your body the raw materials it needs to repair that tendon and that connective tissue in there. And I'd be more than happy to give you my whole tendon healing protocol if you want. Usually, I might as well give it here because everyone's always looking for it. I usually do 15 Arthrolyze per day, 5 pills 3 times a day with food, 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C per day. Vitamin C is an important component of collagen connective tissue. BPC 157, healing peptide, 200 micrograms, 2 to 3 times a day. I wouldn't put it right into the injury where it's going to be operated. I would put it maybe around the area, maybe into the shoulder, right into the deltoid right there. And that's going to really help. I actually think that helps more than growth hormone, believe it or not. But you could probably use 2 IUs of growth hormone per day as well. You also want to take a good multivitamin, multi-mineral, because minerals are really important to making sure that bone, holds that tendon. I recommend my V-mineralized formula, 5 pills 2 times per day. If you do all that, eat enough protein, obviously, and follow the doctor's instructions, I think you're going to get maximum healing on that tendon and connective tissue. A lot of people ask me if they should use TB500 too. I don't like TB500 as much as I like the BPC 157. I guess you could use both. It won't really hurt, but 200 micrograms of each. But like I said, I really see a much, much better effect from BPC 157. And like I've told people before, I think it's more effective with healing than even the growth hormone is. So, but if you can use both, use both. I would probably just stay on hormone replacement dose, like of 100 to 200 milligrams of testosterone a week. I wouldn't start blasting steroids because you want to keep the muscle kind of flat while it's healing so it's not pulling away from the bone too much. Once you can start doing some exercises, you might want to put 200 milligrams of DECA in there per week just for the anti-inflammation effect of it. But stay away from non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Do not do ibuprofen, any of those non-steroidals. They will inhibit muscle healing. If you're in a little bit of pain, Tylenol is always good. Most of the Percocets and painkillers they'll give you post-surgery will have Tylenol and not ibuprofen in it because they know that inhibits healing. And once again, quick, speedy healing. Hope to see you back in the gym as soon as possible. I'm sure you guys will probably be training legs on Monday if I know you guys, if I know Mike. All right, Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle Rant.